What's up, y'all? This is Hammer here again, back with another video. And today I'm going to be talking about something quite different, quite unique. I'm going to be talking about the issue of colorism, how it affects black people, how it affects black men, how it affects black women, and why I believe in general this is a real thing and a real concept that needs to be addressed. Now, whenever the issue of colorism comes up, right, typically what you hear, and I've seen this a lot, right, you will have this sort of gender divide, right? You'll have black women on one hand. I'm saying that it's a huge thing. It affects dark skinned black women the most. The black community doesn't address the issue, and then you will have black men on the other side saying you guys are over exaggerating it. It's all about your attitudes, right? And for me, I believe that the answer is really more in the middle, right? So as you guys can tell, I'm obviously, a black male. And for a very long time, whenever the issue will come up, right? Obviously, I would have the stereotypical responses, which is that, it's all about the attitude, it's not a big deal. But I think recently, I've started to realize that a lot of those views are very biased. Because look, let's be honest here. Men and women are different, and they essentially move through the human world differently. The standards that would apply for a man don't apply for a woman. So essentially, colorism is not going to affect me as a black man the way it's going to affect a black woman, right? So the way colorism would affect a black man is in regards to the justice system, right? In regards to the police, in regards to law. If a police officer pulls over a black male, if he's darker complexion, he's going to be viewed as more scary, more life-threatening. He's going to invite more police violence compared to if he was lighter skinned, right? That's a way in which colorism plays for black men. Another way is in regards to sort of social attitudes, right? If a black man is trying to quote unquote interracially date, a lot of times the family is going to perceive you as having darker skin. Okay, this black dude has darker skin, so he's of a lower caste. A lot of times they will pressure the daughters to go with white men because they have lighter skin. So that's the ways in which I think colorism affects black men. But the way in which colorism affects black women is actually quite different. Because we already know that when it comes to men are a lot of times judged based on their ability to provide, right? Your income, the resources you have, and your ability to provide. Women, however, right? You can have all the money in the world, but fundamentally, you are going to be judged by one and one thing only, and that is going to be your beauty. And to be honest, that's going to matter even more than the femininity because look, a lot of guys will say, well, you know what, Hammer, if she just submits and if she's in shape, colors don't matter. Yes, obviously being in shape and being submissive plays a role. But let's be honest here, y'all. We have seen countless examples of women who are not submissive, of women who are combative, but because they were dimes, because they were attractive, a lot of guys will put up with it. So women already know that pretty privilege and being viewed as beautiful as a female in a society gives you advantages. So the way colorism affects black women is really in regards to their features, right? As a woman in the society, as a woman in the world, you know that you being viewed as beautiful is predicated on the fact that your features are viewed as attractive. And so if you live in a society where, having 4C hair, having whiter nose, having a dark complexion is not viewed as attractive features, guess what? You're not going to be viewed as beautiful, in the whole society. Let's be honest here. In the United States and in the West, right, the standard of beauty is white woman. Okay, if you look at any Barbie doll, if you look at any commercial, if you look at any context, if you look at any Miss Universe, okay, typically what we see is that the women that are being pushed out here in mass media, right, as beautiful tend to have what? Thinner nose, pale skin, blonde hair, blue eyes, and very petite shape. Now, of course, now on Instagram, we have these booty models, but still, we know that white women are still being portrayed out there as sign of beauty. Now, how does this affect the women? Women, if a black girl is born in the United States, right, and she essentially grows up, right, where The women that are being portrayed to her as being beautiful look nothing like her. This is going to create a very much low self-esteem. It is. And it's going to create this thing where they feel like they're not worthy enough, right? They feel like they can't compete enough, right? This is the reason why a lot of black women, right, despite all this, although they will talk all this about, they dating after a race, a lot of them still mostly will deal with black men because there's always this question of, does this white guy even like black girls? Does the Spanish guy even like black girls, right? This always comes up. And that's also the reason why, in my opinion, when black women see black men with non-black women, it invokes a certain level of pain because as a black woman, as a black girl, you're already growing up in a society feeling like you are not the standard of beauty. You're growing up being told by the media, by the white side, hey, you're not beautiful. You don't look good. So you expect that at least, right, the one person that will view you as beautiful and attractive would be your own men, the men of your own community. So when you have black men who look like you, who are saying that, hey, Ling Ling is better, Passport Bros, SYSBM, white women are better, it's going to evoke a certain response. And I think that's the reason why, in my opinion, colorism is so much of a bigger, it's so much of a bigger issue from the female side compared to the male side. Because when I go to these black female spaces, right, that's a very big issue, right? The idea of them having darker skin, the idea of lighter skinned people having an advantage, it's a big thing. Because as women, right, women are going to be judged on the looks first. So colorism affects black women much more deeply compared to black men. Because men, right, you're not going to be judged on your beauty. You're going to be judged on your ability to provide. So as long as you got good money, as long as you got resources, well, you can get over that. Now, although colorism does affect black men in regards to police brutality, right, in certain areas, for the most part, because black men are men, they're able to overcome that by essentially gathering a lot of resources. They're able to overcome that by essentially amassing a large amount of resources. That is the reason why. A white woman, right, a wealthy white woman or a top tier white woman will only deal with a black dude as long as he has a certain amount of money, right? In other words, you are compensating for not being white. But the colorism issue, I feel like matters because too many guys, especially in the black men, so too many black men, I think downplay it because it doesn't just affect, black women in regards to looks, right? It also affects everything around us, right? It affects the racial hierarchy in the United States, right? Because we live under a sort of Western hegemonic system in America, having lighter skin or being adjacent to whiteness gives you privileges. Let's keep it real. That's another form of colorism, right? Where someone from, from Thailand, from Japan, from South Korea, from Latin America can come to the United States and they're easily accepted by the greater white society. But you as a black American that has been here for damn near 400 years, you are still the underclass. Why? Because those people have lighter skin and are viewed as closer to whiteness. So they're going to be given buffer class statuses. If we look on the global stage, right? When you look at other communities, right? If we look at countries in Asia, countries in Europe, countries in South America, countries in the Middle East, right? What we typically say, even in these nations, right? Those who have darker skin are treated like shit. I'm like, I had a whole video on my other art channel, right? Talking about how Latinos are racist. And the thesis of my video was that, look, in the Hispanic culture, there is a racial hierarchy, a color hierarchy, really, where on top you have the white Hispanics, in the middle you have mestizos, and at the bottom you have black Latinos and the indigenous population. So colorism doesn't just affect black women and black men here. It also affects you internationally, right? It also occurs in other communities. And it also has a geopolitical element to it too. So when you look at the global stage, where the areas of the world that are the most, undeveloped are essentially black areas, right? Africa and many parts of the Caribbean. And that's because Western nations have actively suppressed sort of sub-Saharan African nations while at the same time investing in countries in Asia and China and helping them develop. because in many ways they saw those Asians and those people as closer to whiteness. So they will tell you that, hey, you need to boycott China. No, they will go to African countries, right? Black African countries, tell them you need to boycott China because it's a communist country. But yet they themselves had no problem investing billions and billions of dollars exporting all of their industries to a communist regime. Because at the end of the day, those people, Asians are essentially cousins to Caucasians genetically. They're closer to whiteness. So I do believe that colorism is a real thing. And it doesn't, I feel like because it gets reduced to just a black female conversation, it's easy for black men to just say, well, it doesn't matter. No, it doesn't matter. It does exist, right? Because George Floyd is a great example of colorism, right? Here you have a black man who is being treated horribly by the police because, let's keep it real, he is darker skinned. Because if that was an Asian individual, if that was a white individual, because they are closer to whiteness, they would not have been treated this way. So we have to be honest about these conversations. We have to be these conversations. And I think for me, at the end of the day, when I hear black folks, especially black men, saying that colorism is not real, I feel like it's being very disingenuous. But with that being said, yo, I'm going to let you guys go. You guys tell me in the chat what you guys think about as my thoughts. I feel like I'm trying to expand my worldview. Tell me what you guys think. Do you like this? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Make sure to like, share, subscribe to the video, and make sure to subscribe to my channel Hammer. And with that being said, Hammer out.